Hello, I'm B. Rose in Converses. I'm going to be talking about whether London is at risk from the rising cost of living. Let's get into it.
This is how Farah Naz spends one afternoon a week, queuing for food to feed her family.
How old are the children?
There's 3 and 1 hour.
She's a mum of 2 with 1 on the way, and her husband is struggling to find work. She let us into her home.
These are the essentials which I get every week from them, and it is helpful for me because they even provide baby milk and nappies to me.
In case you're wondering why is London in poverty like this, I'm going to use the Central Business District Model, the CBD model, which often describes the structure of cities. I hope this will help. I'm going to use the old model first and then show you the new model that's now used in schools, etc. So in the centre you've got the Central Business District, the CBD. Then you've got the inner city around that, the outer city around that, the inner suburbs around that, and the outer suburbs around that. But that's not how they write it out now. Now they say it's the CBD in the centre, factories and industry next, low-class residential next, then the middle-class residential, and finally the upper-class residential areas. That's the Burgess model.
And how often do you skip meals?
It is my daily per day routine. I skip my meals daily because just to have my kids have 3 meals a day and the heating in the house, so I need to skip one of my meals.
So you miss
Yes.
every single day?
Yes.
You don't have 3 meals?
Every single day my meals, yes.
How worried are you that bills will get so high that you won't be able to afford to pay for them?
It's very hard for me. I will find it hard.
In case you're wondering how could London specifically have problems with access to food, tourist-friendly cities actually can and do produce food deserts. Local food stores are often replaced with these lovely, expensive, lavish restaurants, which isn't suitable for daily living. Grocers are often replaced with coffee shops and artisan stores and attractions. Again, not good for getting groceries. And food stores that are present, they often offer meal deals and less options for a higher price.
The air in her flat is thickened by mould, and Amanda's children have underlying health conditions.
How regularly does it flood?
I would say literally every other month. We're paying our rent and we can't even be late with our rent. They cool us down. But when we calling you down to resolve the issues, nobody respond. So we're like a lost person.
The working mother spends nearly £800 a month in rent and bills, but renting privately here is up to 3 times as high.
In case you're wondering, London is in fact a very sought-after city. Lots of people want to move there and they have a dream in mind when they move there, no matter how deceptive the image of London might be. They move for a better life and instead they're faced with a high cost of living, and perhaps not the wage to uphold it. Most high-skilled jobs in London will go to the top crème de la crème. Of course, these are the crème de la crème of the industry from around the world, not just locally. The lower classes will often find themselves being outcompeted for highly skilled or higher-paid jobs.
I think I'm one of those commoners.
Frank is known as the governor. He's lived here with his family for 35 years and has seen this area change.
Because of the gentrification again, I think that's partly why the people in the common people that lives in this type of estates are being neglected.
So what is gentrification? Is it good or bad? In school you learn it's fantastic, and often you hear from people in cities who are impoverished that it's extremely bad. As wealthier people move to an area, and that's what gentrification basically consists of, house prices often increase, but so does the rent for those in the lower classes, which means that they're losing money, not gaining. Also, the more skills the wealthy bring, the more the lower classes can feel out-competed or pushed away instead of being given the opportunities for themselves. Council tax can increase as the area becomes richer. Now, gentrification can be good. if the following things are in place: that the lower classes end up with more opportunities as a result of gentrification, for example, networking opportunities and education. If there's rich people around you, there might be opportunities. If the wealthy pay their taxes, the area can in fact become more pleasant, so cleaner, etc. And, the bins are taken on time. Gentrification is dangerous when it leads to segregation, though.
How much money are you spending on bills at the moment? And are you concerned as energy bills rise?
When I first did it, I got a bill from my gas company of like 300 that needed to be paid that month.
Did you have that money?
No.
So you're basically right now wondering what you're going to do?
Yeah.
What a difficult situation for such a young mother. I'm going to show you a little bit of the characteristics of a city, and I want you to work out where you think these people might be living. The central business district is the hub of financial development and trade. Skyscrapers help to get around the astronomical ground costs. Building up is cheaper than building out. Inner cities have factories and physical industries, for example, ports. No one typically lives here. There are some tourist hotspots, though. In the outer city, terraced housing without gardens exists and is built to house factory workers and workers of all kinds. Often they're undermanaged rental estates, effectively. Inner suburbs contain garden space. They're more for the middle classes and slightly more space between the homes as well. There's a lower crime rate. Overall, it's a nice place to live. It's less polluted due to the lack of overpopulation. The outer suburbs you would easily mistake it for being completely rural. Large estates, large spaces, very rich area. High council tax though, but lower bills in general. Close enough to the city to work in the central business district, and far enough away to have the lovely, wealthy, rural, edgy lifestyle. Charming.
Built for 6 people, rearranged to house anywhere up to 15. One lady told us they were all family.
We all are related, so we all need to lend.
But as we walked through the house with planning enforcement officers, we found a room housing students, a couple living on the top floor, none of them related.
How much rent do you pay per month?
£650.
£650 per month. Okay. Cool.
And it's quite a lot of money though to pay for one room.
It's okay, like maybe this is the place like you have to pay. Wherever you go, this is the kind of thing. So
to rent, and no doubt some of the landlords advertising here will be flouting planning regulations and exploiting their tenants. They're described as modern-day slums, sheds with beds, some far more basic than others. We accessed this outhouse through the landlord's main property.
There's sort of a law of the world that states that if you have an area that's very destitute of education or money or opportunities, you will find crooks and fraudsters ready to take advantage of the naive and the desperate.
But when we went back a week later with the landlord, there were cupboards blocking the bathroom door. The room was bare. So people used to live here?
What's that?
So people used to
Not
live...
now. That was a long time ago when I did this place up, but then I didn't know the law then. So then afterwards when they told me that no, you can't use this, so I said, okay, then if you can't use it, can't they?
I've been a courier for 18 years. Rent in London is ridiculous, everybody knows that. Since I started couriering, my rent has gone up, it's quadrupled, whereas my wages haven't.
I'm a minicab driver. While my level of income is very low, I'm having a lot of difficulties.
It's great that people can be so honest about the situation they're in, but the cost of living crisis in London is caused by a few things, among many others. There's an increasing land value. There's an increasing cost of energy, which is a national crisis. Jobs are also going to international elites instead of the nationals in London, and also the internationals like refugees who are trying to improve their life here. On top of that, the available jobs are often unskilled or lower pay, which makes it harder to live in London. And on top of that, you've got the longer travel times to go in search of food because it's a food desert.
There's massive overcrowding. It's unacceptable. And so for us, the answer, it's not enough to say there's the problem. You have to fix it. We're spending, I think, £18 million on enforcement in this borough. Either we do take some action now, or you will not come back here to a city in 10 years' time that looks like the London we've got now. There'll be swathes of poverty, swathes of slums.
I'm going to take you on a journey through London to conclude this, through the CBD, through the industry areas, the low class, the middle class and the upper class residential areas in pictures. Ready? Let's go. CBD Canary Wharf. Industrial areas. Lower class residential, middle class residential, upper class residential. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.